Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dot Content Podcast. We want to wish everybody a happy holiday season as we are not only amidst Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, we will be celebrating a brand new year as well next week. But here tonight, we are going to be discussing the first of our two queer dramas for the week. We are going to be discussing 2015's Carol. We have not done a lot of anniversaries. This is kind of one of the few. This is the 10-year anniversary of one of the most acclaimed movies of this century, and we are going to be discussing that. Please leave a 4 or 5 star review on Apple and Spotify. Get those algorithms going. Please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the bell icon for notifications. We've been doing YouTube exclusives this month as we've been covering the holiday season, and there's so much holiday content out there that typically in December we've basically done 2 episodes per week. And this week we have paired Carol with holiday season uh, yeah, we're going to be discussing 2 movies this week, and Carol being the first one. And Brian, I know that you have not seen this movie. You had not seen Happiest Season either. So I was very curious to know because we don't handle a lot of romance on this show. We never really have done that. Um, so I'm just curious to know, as you were watching Carol, what did you think?
I thought it was well acted. I thought that the cinematography was a little less desired. I thought because I've seen Far From Heaven, and Far From Heaven has some hell of a cinematographer. Well, I forget the cinematographer on that one, but that was a hell of a cinematographer on that movie. And it had a lot of bright colors, and everything was so like great. This was like very again, the snow just kind of takes the colors out of these movies, Jerome. So that was, of course, my technical complaint. I think everything was well acted, well casted. The story was good. I did feel the romance at the beginning, but then I started to
Brian,
realize,
I just want to let you know that Edward Lockman was the cinematographer for both Far From Heaven and Carol.
wow. So once you've
So,
watched Far From Heaven, because I know you haven't seen it, I think you're going to see the stark contrast because that movie is so incredibly well lit, and the colors feel like 1963, like it should. I guess this does feel like 1953,
I
but
mean,
it's
this
just
is to
one of
be a
those
pastiche.
darker
I mean,
color palette.
we had this conversation last week when we were talking about like decades of pastiche, and it was
Yeah,
certainly not going for that this time. I mean, look,
yeah.
I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying, and I think the muted cinematography is definitely a choice. And I think you could disagree with the choice or not, and that could certainly hamper your enjoyment. But I really do think that Lockman and Haynes have made the choice to do muted colors for this movie, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I can see why because they want to focus on the drama and focus on the characters, less on the stuff on the outside. But I thought it would have enhanced it a little more. You know what I mean? Especially when you do a Christmas themed movie, and it's definitely the first half of this movie is definitely the Christmas part of it. I thought that department store scene could have looked a lot cooler and a lot brighter, like A Christmas Story, for example, like something like that. But it didn't pop as well as I thought it would. But that's kind of my technical complaint, like I said. But everything else is like kind of spot on. The drama's good, the acting's good. The story is kind of like you can take it or leave it in terms of like it is a love story, but in terms of like the age difference, I think that might be a little bit of a toxic kind of thing, considering that like what is it, 30 years? But like, is that grooming, right? Like, I don't know. It kind of felt like
I
grooming
mean,
at the
they're both
beginning,
adults. I mean, that's the
right?
thing. I think these forbidden romance, especially when there is an age gap, I mean, those still do exist. I mean, we have Call Me by Your Name, which came out a few years later, and I think that one is even a little bit more problematic than this one. But I think that there is a clear delineation that these are both adults. Obviously, Rooney Mara is playing a much younger adult. Cate Blanchett is a housewife, but so there is a difference there. But I think the intention is for them to both be adults. And I want to point out, I mean, this is a movie that made $42 million, which like it's not a tremendous amount of money, but like the fact that this movie was able to make that much speaks to just the fact that I think it was a solid performer, and I think this is a movie that people do still really talk about quite a bit. And if you look on some movies, and some people have this like as like one of the best movies of the 21st century. So this movie is very highly regarded, and I think it's highly regarded for good reason. I think Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara give really good performances. Sarah Paulson, Jake Lacey, and Kyle Chandler are all good in supporting roles. I think where this movie loses me a little bit is the fact that it is a little lethargic, and I think that is both to the movie's benefit at times, and I think it also it hampers it at times. You look at a movie from Far From Heaven, which is only 15 minutes shorter than this, but To me, I look at a movie like this, and I think that when you end up with a movie like this, it just feels like you lose 15, 20 minutes, and it feels like you can maybe enhance the pacing a little bit. And I think that also helps the cinematography, as you were mentioning, because the cinematography is quite striking, and again, I believe that it is done purposefully. I think where the tone is really well done is like this is a romantic drama, but it doesn't cross over into feeling like a soap opera or a sitcom, which we will talk about when we talk about Kathy's season, and whether that also is able to handle that same balance really well. But this never devolves into feeling like a melodrama. It really does feel like a serious drama, and I think that starts with Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara both being really good, but you also have to have Todd Haynes knowing what he's doing too.
For sure. And like I mentioned, he brings the best out of his actors, and everyone was on point in this movie. I think everyone was like on their A game, to be honest. Um, and there's some parts of the movie where you kind of felt sympathetic towards Kyle Chandler's character, which I thought, he's the de facto villain. But he does kind of have a case because she did cheat on him during the relationship. And I don't know, that's kind of like the X factor of the whole like divorce. It's like once that happens, it's like she
Well,
kind of
Brian, when you're not
lost.
allowed to be queer in the 1950s,
I get that
it's going
part,
to
but it's
happen.
like in
He's
terms of the
also
divorce.
drunk.
Okay, yes, but I'm saying in terms of the divorce legality of it all, is like there was like a no-win situation at that point, right? Once they found out, so it's just really hard to like like root for this guy who had all the sympathy in the beginning, and then he completely loses it, and then you realize that he's a drunk and he's stumbling
I
around.
mean, the thing is that you're casting Kyle Chandler for a reason. Again, I don't think that any of this is an accident. Kyle Chandler has this persona of being like the nice guy from like Friday Night Lights, but like he's very clearly designed to be a villain here, and I think that's I think they take real advantage of that, and I think that's why this movie is a little bit better. Like I think a little bit more highly of this movie than you do, and I think it's because again the casting of this movie is so spot on, and the performances are so great. Like I just think that that's what elevates this movie into being as highly regarded as it is, because again it's about you have to believe, and almost want Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara to get together, and you kind of know it's not going to happen, but you still have to root for it. And I think that's where the movie really is strong. Where I think the movie is weakest is it definitely feels like there are certain parts of the movie that I just feel like maybe get dragged on a little too long. It feels like the road trip. Like I think the build up to their moment of intimacy is extremely well done. It's extremely classy. It's not like shot to be, something that's, not acceptable, or shot to be more like something that you would see in a mainstream Hollywood movie. Like it's done in a very classy way that respects both actors, I would say. And I think that that's what makes this. That's again all of these things. There's a lot of elements in this movie that could have been either wrong, skeezy, whatever terminology you want to use. But I think everything is so well handled, that's what impresses me the most about this movie is the fact that it never feels like it devolves into just something that you would see like on HBO on a late night in the 1980s, right?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. It's almost as if it's like the plot of like a trashy adult movie, but it's really treated seriously, right? Because of the whole risqueness of it all. But it's a really,
Right.
adult drama. And yeah, I could see that. But for me, I saw it. I treated it as a serious drama right off the bat. The way like it was started out and the way the characters meet. So I was really more intrigued in terms of like where the relationship would go because it's 1953. So that was
Right.
my interest of it all is like, how's this going to go? We know that they're in a relationship. Like, what's going to happen with the kid? Like, I was really concerned with the kid as well because it almost seems like she lost her, almost right because it's like that limited visitation rights, and we know that kind of story with when it comes to divorces and parents and stuff, and the way that kind of that goes down. Who gets the child and whatnot?
Right.
So
And the other reason I mentioned this is that Todd Haynes, his most recent movie was um, this movie May December, which was basically like shot like a Lifetime movie with Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. Like it was purposefully shot and designed almost to be like an homage to a Lifetime movie. So that's the other, that I couldn't help but think of that when I was watching this, because this could have been like a Hallmark movie, or this could have been an adult skeezy movie, but it isn't, because Todd Haynes again is a really good director. Like that's kind of what I was getting.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely in control of tone. And that's clearly the case in this movie because it's all serious. I don't think there's any jokes, hardly any jokes at all. And that wouldn't really fit this universe anyway. But in terms of like a
Yeah, I
Christmas
really go back
movie,
and forth on that, because I think that humor could have helped, but again, the tone is so tough with this movie that again, and look, there's a reason we paired this with Happiest Season. I think we're gonna have a follow up to this conversation specifically when we talk about that. So make sure you check out our YouTube channel. But I think where this movie, and that's part of the reason, like I think the movie drags sometimes, is because there is such a lack of humor and everything is so serious, that I think that also contributes to this movie feeling all 119 minutes.
right? And I couldn't help but notice some of these like movie, not tropes, but like cliches in movies where they sit down for lunch and they don't order anything at all and just sit there and talk and then just walk away with no bill. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh shit, they did that in here. They didn't even bother to put food on the table in this scene, kind of thing. So I noticed those little things in movies, but that was like the humor that I found in it, but
Or when they
unintentionally,
go to a
obviously.
bar and order a beer, that's what
Right.
happens. Like,
And then they just hardly
drives
sip
me
it and
insane.
just leave. You know what I mean? Put it on my tab. But I thought it was kind of funny they did in some of these scenes, but they kind of just cut to the chase because it was all over the dialogue and that was the focus. So I understand that, but and I did notice a lot of smoking in this movie because it's 1953, and I was just like,
Oh,
ah,
there
man.
is. Yeah, this is a pantheon
So
of
like
its
Sarah Paulson's at having breakfast, she's eating eggs, and then all of a sudden she lights a cigarette, and I was like, wow, eggs and a cigarette. This is like so 1950s, like that feel. So I give it
and the
credit for that.
coffee that
Like,
probably tastes like, and coffee that probably tastes like mud, because it's fucking Folgers or
oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah, the extra chunky kind that's barely
Oof.
hot, that gets cold really quick. But yeah, that's the 50s, folks, in terms of like lifestyles and diners and stuff. But at least they got that right, the slice of life right. Um, I like the way they had that party, that first class party, like in the first act of the movie. You can kind of tell like why she's not very comfortable in fitting in with this family, this whole culture. So I thought that was a good contrast to her personality, which showed like she didn't fit in, as to why she's like, feels like she's on the outs, and that whole discussion about not wanting to go to a Christmas party or whatever. Like, I'm kind of in a similar boat with my mom, so I kind of understand that whole discussion of like, can you please come and visit your family? I don't want to go. I have issues with my sister, so I'm in the middle of that drama myself. So I understand that whole thing about like not wanting to go to the Christmas party and
Family
that whole.
drama is real,
It is
especially
real.
when
So that was
you're trying to hide your queerness. That
that's for sure.
certainly adds to it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just a little slice of life there. But yeah, it was good drama all around. I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Like I just feel like in terms of a Christmas movie, it loses that Christmas feel in the other half because
It
it goes
really does.
beyond
Like
that.
as I was watching this, I was like, this is more of a New Year's movie at this point than a Christmas movie. So I'm not sure.
I'm
I mean,
thinking
it's
more
more
winter
totally
break
appropriate,
because like that trip was 2 weeks, right? And that kind
right?
of started around New Year's. So that's kind of your winter break in terms of school terms, right? And then she comes back. I thought it was kind of messed up. Like, why didn't you just fly back with Cate Blanchett? She just abandoned her in the middle of fucking Iowa or something.
I
I
mean,
thought,
I think it's because they want Sarah Paulson and Rooney Mara to have that conversation. Like that's why you do it.
I get
I don't
you.
know.
I
It's a
get you.
little. I mean, flights are for the rich. Like at this point, like I don't know that it's very common for someone like Rooney Mara to be able to fly. Like it's really expensive and prohibitively so.
I
So I'm
guess
gonna
so
guess
because
that's why.
she she got the yeah she got picked up by her ex lover's girlfriend. So yeah,
I
it's
mean,
yeah.
but I think that one of the differences that I think that especially because that community is so much smaller. Like I think it's much more what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's much more feasible for broken up couples to stay friends because the community is so much smaller. So I think there is more
Yeah,
of
I
a
can believe in that. It's just the idea of like, man, can you pick up my current girlfriend? You know what I mean? It's like that awkward
right.
conversation.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know that you how you have that conversation, but Sarah Paulson's certainly the person to
She's a
do it. I mean,
champ. She's definitely
she's
a
really
champ
good.
for doing it. Yeah, for
Like that's
sure.
the
Her
thing.
character was
Again, the
great.
casting in this movie is so good. I mean, Jake Lacey, who it just feels like he is perpetually I mean, he is never going to find love and happiness. Like I could run down all the roles and all the shows and all the movies, and he just ends up with a broken heart every single time it seems.
So he was the one that was trying to get with Therese, right? Trying
Yes,
to
with
at least.
Therese. Yes.
Wow. So then, okay, I guess he's just typecast because dude was dude was obsessed, and I was like, how did you get her to move in? I
Again, the
guess.
hapless husband role. Nice. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the nice guy in a lot of stuff, and now he's kind of just the not so nice guy. So it's kind of amazing. Just his career path has this vowed. Like, if you want to talk about being typecast, like it very much feels like he is kind of in these perpetual roles, and it would be nice to see him in something that's not this. But I mean, this is what he does.
Well, he's very like gleeful about it, and he's very naive, his character. So I guess that's his natural personality, maybe, or he just brings that out of himself. But yeah, I can see why he's typecast because he fits that type well. And I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes is Sarah Paulson like shutting the door on the dude's face, like just get out of here, she's not here. And that look on his face is like, he thinks she's lying, but she's really not lying. And Kyle Chandler just has this look of like disgust mixed with like anger, and she just slams the door in his face with like this glee on her face. I thought that was great. Something about that scene was just so, I don't know, empowering for me watching that, just standing up to a bully. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's what Kyle Chandler is, and I think it's so fascinating to see him in a role like this because I mean, again, he is for so many people, he's the coach from Friday Night Lights, and I think people like Kyle Chandler a lot. So to see him in this role is just completely different, and
Hey, I want him
I
back in the
respect it a
Godzilla
lot.
series, man. I want him back in the
Oh
Godzilla series. I
God,
know that's crazy,
that's right,
but
he was in the Godzilla
at
series.
least he was one of those human characters that like connected the dots and like was a consistent thing in each movie.
I
So
mean, he
that's what I
certainly
want.
he certainly tried.
Yeah. Well, at least, he was part of the universe. Like if you're part of that Godzilla universe, I think you can easily come back in any movie in the future. So it's that MCU effect. So I'm hopeful that he's coming back with 11 one day. I think it's just timing. But yeah, hopefully I see that. But I can't think of anything else but him and Friday Night Lights, this, and then there was
I
another
mean,
one that I'm
Early
not thinking
Edition
of.
was a TV show that he was in. I mean, he's been in a lot
Yeah.
of stuff, man. Like he
It
was
feels
in
like
the
he
Netflix
doesn't
show
get like that
Frontline.
leading man role that he probably deserves in like a big movie. But like, didn't he do a movie with Spielberg? Or am I tripping out on that?
So he was in Wolf of Wall Street. So he definitely has worked with
Oh
Scorsese,
yeah, that was again side
and
role, but he was very powerful in that for sure.
for sure, yeah, he has had a really weird movie career. He was in King Kong and he was in Godzilla. Like that's the strange thing about his career is that he has been in two different kind of King Kong universes.
Hey man, I'm for it because he brings that human element that you need into those movies. Believe me, I've seen them all, and in those kaiju movies, you need those kind of actors that kind of bring the realism. And it's like, holy shit, this guy's acting. Holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, so
And
I'm glad he's.
he is going to be in Lanterns as well. He will
That's
be
right,
playing.
and it's a series. I thought it was a movie, but it's a series, which I think is better, considering that Lanterns
Yeah,
is
we'll
like this
see.
giant thing.
I'm a little dubious, but we'll see. He is playing
Because
Hellboy.
yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see him do the lethal weapon thing, but it's reverse where you got the white dude is the older guy, the black dude should be the younger guy, and I think that dynamic works. And if you do the lethal weapon thing with him and him doing like I'm getting too old for this shit as Hal Jordan, I think that's going to be classic. And then you
Yeah,
tie
for
him in
sure.
with, and then of course you tie him in with Nathan Fillion in a cameo or two because we know that he's part of that universe too as that Green Lantern. I don't know. There's so many lanterns, people. It's confusing, but
So
they're all.
Brian, since we really haven't talked about Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara very much, so I think I want to definitely do that before we exit this episode. So I
I
had a
mean, they're
question
on.
for you.
Okay, go ahead.
How old is Cate Blanchett, or how old do you think Cate Blanchett is?
63.
She is 56 years old. I'm stunned by that.
I was close, but I kind of
You were
looked this up
close.
because I had the same thought when I saw Thor in 2017, right?
Yeah, it's crazy that she's 56.
Yeah,
Like you would
yeah,
not
that's
know
why she came back in the Lord of the Rings Hobbit movies playing
that.
herself, and I don't think they did
Yes.
any CGI.
No, I
She
don't think
just
so
was
either.
her. Yeah, so good,
Right. I have to
great.
go. So, I mean, clearly one of our great actresses. Not like it's funny if you look at her franchise films, it's rough. We're talking, not Lord of the Rings. I'm excluding that. I mean, she was in the Hobbit trilogy. She's in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Ocean's 8, not great. Thor Ragnarok, pretty good though. But I do want to point out, Brian, that both Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara have both been in movies heavily associated with the Immigrant Song. Do you realize that?
Um, okay, wait. The Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin, heavily featured in Thor, that's for sure. Uh,
Correct.
Rooney Mara's connection to that is what? Nightmare on Elm Street? No way. So,
Have you watched the trailer for the girl with the dragon tattoo?
oh, that's right. It's the remix by
I mean, it's
Trent Reznor.
literally one of the greatest trailers of all time.
Yeah, I remember that because that was the beat because it was because of the beat, and of course it's the Led Zeppelin effect, I think, because Led
I mean,
Zeppelin
it's
always brings out the
tremendous.
best trailers. We
But
know
yeah,
that
Cate
because Thor
Blanchett
used it.
rules. I mean, she like anything she's in is almost worth seeing just because she's in it. And again, her filmography is definitely mixed, but like I think this is a really good example of what she is capable of doing. I think she did this when she played Katharine Hepburn in The Aviator as well. She is able to capture, and obviously part of it is because of just her look, but she is able to capture what it looks and feels like to be in the 1940s and 50s. She also does the same thing in Nightmare Alley, even. So I mean, she's so great in this role.
Absolutely, she's one of the best of our generation, I think. I can't remember has she won an Oscar? It feels
She's won two Academy Awards. She won
okay.
Best Supporting Actress for The Aviator, and she won for Blue Jasmine, which is a movie that no longer exists because it's of who the director is. But she did win for Blue Jasmine, and
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
So
so she is a
she's
two-time
got her
winner.
dues. She's gotten her dues.
Arguably should have won for Carol, or I'm not sorry, maybe Carol, but definitely Tar. Tar,
Oh yeah,
I love Tar
I've
so
seen
much.
clips of Tar. I haven't seen it, but it just reminds me of like
I may make you rewatch Tar at some point
yeah,
because
because I don't know. I
it's
get
really
Chris
fucking
Jericho
good.
Triple H vibes, which is like a good thing in terms of like
I
personality.
mean, the ending of Tar is one of my favorite endings of all time. So we may have to watch Tar at some point. But Rooney Mara also is somebody like I remember seeing her in the aforementioned the girl with the dragon tattoo, and I was like, this woman is going to be a huge star. And it doesn't feel like she's definitely done some good movies, certainly, but I never felt like she hit that real high point, and that's something that I think about a lot. And certainly, the trials and tribulations of being a Hollywood actress, it has got to be extremely difficult, especially because she's not in her 20s anymore. But it really feels like her career was really singing along, and it just feels like something is missing. Like it just feels like she didn't really get where she was supposed to be in terms of like being regarded as one of the top stars.
Maybe that's not what she wants. It seems because if you look at her filmography, it's not like a lot of box office hits or
Well, she
stuff we've even
certainly
heard
doesn't need the
of.
money because of who she is related to.
I forget. Remind me because I get lost in some of these Hollywood connections
So
sometimes.
Rooney is the Pittsburgh Steelers owners, and Mara is the New York Giants owners.
That's right. I forgot about that. So maybe she just is like, I just want to do what I want. I don't
Do
care about
you
being a star.
realize that the rumor is that if the Giants or Steelers are in the playoffs, that she has permission to not film while those things are happening.
That's not a bad gig. All things considering, I hope that's in the contract
I
because
mean, the good
that's
thing is
technically a
that the
family
Steelers and
event.
Giants. I mean, it's a good bet because lately the Steelers and Giants have been so bad that hasn't really mattered.
Well, except the Steelers. As of this recording, I think there's seven or six. But yeah,
The Steelers did the Bears a huge favor by getting them into the playoffs, right
yeah,
nicely done.
yeah. This is optimistic Bears talk, by the way, considering all the times we've kind of made fun of them. But this is like one of
I
their
mean,
good
look,
runs.
I have politely handled Brian talking about the Dodgers, so
I will do it evenly as you know. I'm not going to trash the Bears, and hopefully they make the playoffs, and
I
hopefully,
mean the game they most recently played while we were recording this was the Bears beat the Packers in overtime, 22-16, and Caleb Williams pretty much had the best pass of his career and any Chicago Bears quarterback, which admittedly is a very low bar.
Definitely. So good luck to them because it's we got 2 weeks of the season left as of this recording. But back to the movie, I don't know if Nightmare on Elm Street really hindered a career. I don't know if that's like a thing
I
because
don't
she.
think so. I
I
mean,
don't think
she
so
was in
either
that,
because she
like,
ended
she
up
was
doing
in that,
Carol.
like, she was in, like, she literally did Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot, and the Social Network in the same year.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like I think people because I've seen some reviews that kind of say like this might have hurt her career, like in terms of like the growth.
Really? That's really
But then,
interesting. I
but it's only
mean,
a couple. It's some YouTubers I've watched. You know what I mean? Some of those kind of comic book, kind of like
yeah,
badass serious
yeah,
reviews
yeah, that might
because
be a
they
problem.
don't know her filmography as much because so they kind of associate it like, oh, maybe she's not as big of a star, right? But that doesn't take away from her talent. I think she's really, really talented.
I mean,
All things
she's still done
considering.
some good work. I don't want to make it seem like she's not done anything. I mean, I think Women Talking is a really good movie. I am kind of mixed on Nightmare Alley. I remember her being very good in it. So certainly, I mean, look, she is certainly not without her good movies, but it feels like something is missing. That's pretty much it for Carol. Again, I give this an 8 out of 10. I think this absolutely belongs in the conversation as one of the better movies of this century. And I think if this movie, I don't know, I don't know what it would take to make it better because I do think that again everything is done purposefully, and I think maybe to rob the 20 minutes, maybe we would lose something from if we did. But that's where I'm at. Carol's still really good. Highly recommend watching it during the holiday season. Maybe not even during Christmas. Maybe it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a really good movie. It just it loses the Christmas feel once you get past that point. If the movie took place like solely throughout December, I think you would have had that feel throughout the whole thing. But they go on to New Year's, so it's kind of what it is. I'm going with a 7.5. I think slowly will grow on me. It's just in comparison because like Far From Heaven, man. When I watched that when I was like I don't know how old it was. I saw it in theaters, but I
That
thought,
was
man,
probably
this
like one
was
of your first adult movies.
yeah, and I was just like, wow, this is so well done. Like this is how a movie should be like directed for adults kind of thing.
I don't know how I have missed this movie, but I need to sit down. It is on the Criterion
Yeah,
channel.
yeah, and it's got a lot of like queer themes as well, and it's about like Julianne Moore's husband is secretly in the closet having an affair. Very similar kind of themes. It's just kind of
Very
in
similar
reverse.
thematically, yeah.
And I think, as I recall, she falls in love with a black man, which adds to it, right? But she can't do anything because she's
President
scared.
Palmer, right?
I
President
think
Palmer.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly that. So it's a really good movie as well. So I will probably check that out sometime next year or something. But I mean, I've seen the movie a couple times, and it's just stuck with me because of like the way it was shot and the performances, and that's probably the
I'm
best
gonna effort to
performance.
watch that.
Yeah,
Very
one of
for
the
sure.
best performances of Randy Quaid's career, like probably the best. So,
I
it
mean,
might
it's even better Independence Day. I don't know.
I mean, sorry, Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid. Which Quaid is it that's not as crazy? Okay, maybe that's a loaded question.
I'm gonna say Dennis Quaid is not as crazy, and that is only by default because Randy Quaid is a genuine lunatic,
Okay, so that's Dennis Quaid then, because he's also the one that was in The Substance. So,
and Jack Quaid does not acknowledge either one of them, which is good for him. All right, for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening again. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel for our discussion of Happiest Season.